Picture this. You're standing on a cold beach in the sub-Antarctic. The air smells like salt and rock. Penguins crowd the shoreline, calling out to each other. Then one of them screams. Not a warning call, not a predator alarm, a distress scream that sounds almost human. A seal drags it into the water, not to eat it, but for something far more disturbing. Seals are marketed as harmless. They clap, they smile for the cameras, they balance balls in aquariums and pose for tourists. They often describe as playful, curious, even gentle. But in biology, play doesn't always mean harmless. For decades, scientists studied seals focused on their diet, migration patterns, and social bonding, until some researcher on a remote island start writing field notes they didn't know how to explain. Penguins were being attacked, but not consumed. The first documented observation came from the Bruyn Island in the sub-Antarctic, a remote research center where scientists study wildlife year-round. Starting in 2006, biologists began documenting something they'd never seen before. A male Antarctic fur seal were restraining king penguins in shallow water, not briefly, sometimes over an hour. The behavior followed a disturbing pattern, such as the penguin is isolated from its group, restrained using the seal's body weight, forced underwater repeatedly, sometimes sexual intercourse, sometimes released, injured or even traumatized, and sometimes drowned. And here's the part that disturbs the researcher the most. The seals often lost interest and swam away. Not feeding, not survival benefits, just abandonment. This wasn't hunting. This wasn't reproduction with their own species. It was sexual aggression redirect at another species. Scientists didn't want to believe it. They tried to rationalize it, saying maybe the seal thinks it's another seal, except king penguins look nothing like fur seals. Different size, different shape, and completely different species. Maybe it's accidental, except the same individual seals were observed doing it repeatedly, sometimes multiple times in a single season. Maybe it's a hunger-driven behavior gone wrong, except the penguins aren't eaten. Many were left alive but severely injured. Between 2006 and 2012, researchers on Bruyn Island documented multiple cases. The behavior wasn't a one-time anomaly. It was a pattern. Eventually, the language in scientific papers changed. Researchers began using the phrase like non-consensual interspecies interaction, aggression sexual behavior, atypical mating attempt. In simple terms, a violence without clear evolutionary purpose. Now, seals are highly intelligent mammals. They experience boredom, they seek simulation, they compete for dominance. Young male fur seals, especially those excluded from mating opportunities with females, often display what scientists called redirect sexual aggression. Think about the environment. The sub-Antarctic islands are isolated. Seals' populations are dense. Competition for males is fierce. Young males often pushed to margin by larger and dominant males. Penguins are smaller, slower, vulnerable on an island, and helpless against a seal in water. The seal doesn't need to kill them. That's what makes it worse. This behavior mirrors something unsettling seen in other highly intelligent animals. dolphins harassing porpoises and other smaller marine mammals, orcas killing sharks and rays but not killing them, primates engaging in dominant violence against weaker individuals. In all these cases, the act itself becomes the reward, not food nor reproduction, but the expression of control and stimulation. Disturbing and well documented, but they're not the only examples of unsettling seals' behavior. Leopard seals, for instance, have been observed engaging in what looks like play with penguin prey, chasing them to exhaustion, releasing them, then catching them again. Not always to eat sometimes, just because they can. Some researchers believe this is a practice hunting for younger seals, but older, experienced seals do it too. Why? Stimulation, dominance, or boredom in an environment with few threats and abundant prey. Seals aren't monsters. They're animals, complex, intelligent, and shaped by evolution and environment. But they're also not innocent. Intelligence doesn't equal kindness. Seals exist in an environment where social hierarchy are brutal, where young males face intense competition, and where stimulation can be scarce. And when that happens, nature doesn't always follow the rules we expect. So the next time you see a seal clapping on a rock, posing for a photo, just remember, beneath the surface, in the freezing water where tourists can't see, some behavior are so disturbing that even scientists struggle to write them down for years. If you want more stories that nature never wanted you to see, subscribe to Wild Anomalies, because the ocean doesn't just hide bodies, it hides the truth.